Hello mixtresses and mixters. This is Mixtressrae. You're watching Mixtress Video, and I am going to talk about today sort of the darker side of, I'm coming to you with no rings on, no Powerpuff Girls watch. I'm kind of sleep deprived, and it's 11 a.m. and I've been doing some math. Okay, first of all, I want to talk about you can see the title of the video. You clicked on it. But I want to talk about the darker side of tarot collecting. Lately, I've been really having to contend with my finances. I think I've probably said this on my channel. One of my goals for 2021 is to learn to live within my means better. And part of that is really confronting how much money that I have spent on my different obsessions. So I have my journals from the last few years here, or not all of them, but the ones where I've written down stats of, I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you exactly how much money I've spent on tarot and oracle decks in the last 3 years. So 2019, 2020, and so far 2021, because it's something that I feel like not a lot of tarot YouTubers are talking about. I'm going to link a couple videos below of a couple people that are talking about it or that have talked about it in the past. 2 videos that I found really helpful that were suggested to me by Rachel. You know who you are. Rachel and I have been having a ton of conversations about addictive behaviors, and specifically as associated because both of us have the specific issue of collecting too many tarot and oracle decks. And so today I was just like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to go through, I'm going to write down how many oracle decks. So I have the stats of how many oracle decks I've acquired in the last 3 years, how many I've kept, and how much money I've spent. It's almost, I think I have everything, but it's possible I'm missing a few decks here and there. So this might actually be a low ball thing. But, okay, so first of all, I didn't think about how I was going to organize this. I just, I have all the information here in front of me, and you guys know how I do. I'm a process queen. I have all the information here in front of me, and I'm going to present it to you in some kind of fashion as we go. So, I have this tarot and oracle, this is where I keep track of all of my current tarot and oracle decks. Some of these I don't have anymore, but I basically have been keeping track since I got Tarot of the Cat People in November 2018. But before we get into that, I want to share with you a quote from one of the videos that I'm going to try to remember to link below. There was a tarot YouTuber who, I think she goes by Grace. She might be under Mary Grace. I can't remember. You'll see the link down below, so you'll be able to see, but I think she goes by Grace. One thing that she said that really stuck out to me is she was talking about tarot and how when she first learned tarot, and I'm sure many people watching right now can relate to this, when she first started learning tarot, she only had like 1 or 2 decks in the first 10 years she was doing tarot, reading for herself and reading for others. She had like 2 tarot decks. She had a Rider-Waite-Smith and the Morgan Greer. And she knows those decks inside and out. She knows them intimately. She can close her eyes and she can think of every single of the 78 images she can pull up in her mind with both of those decks. And she said now she has a huge collection of tarot decks. And those are the only 2 decks she can do that with. And she said, it just really stuck out to me. She said, I miss tarot. It's become about tarot decks, deck collecting, deck unboxing, deck flip-throughs. It's become about the acquisition of items. And I miss tarot. Like talking about tarot, talking about the concepts of tarot. And that's why we're all here, but we have all gotten really sucked into the vortex of acquiring items, which is just, that is everybody everywhere. It's not just me. but, or it's not just tarot community is what I mean. It's everybody everywhere, but we are being slaves to the machine of capitalism, right? And people don't really talk about the dark side of this often enough, so I just wanted to contribute to the conversation in my very disorganized process queen way. So here I am. Another thing, the other video I'm going to link below, I cannot remember his name right now off the top of my head, but he had some really interesting things to say about addiction in general, because he had come from, like, he had been addicted to substances, and he was equating his new habit of acquiring tarot decks to other addictive behaviors that he's had in his life. And at one point I wrote down something that he said that I thought was particularly stuck out, which is tarot is a sacred tool. And he did preface this by saying this is his own opinion. All of this is, you know, my own opinion, obviously, but I think we all can kind of relate to having some addictive behaviors associated with the acquisition of items that go along with this beautiful thing. Tarot is this beautiful, beautiful system, but we're getting caught up in the consumerism of it. And anyway, this is what he said. Tarot is a sacred tool. If I'm buying all of these tarot decks, I'm perversing it. And I think I'm paraphrasing what he said a little bit there, but that stuck with me personally. Perversing the tarot by just buying all of these decks. I hope that you can see what this says. I don't know, maybe I should zoom in a little bit. Okay, forgive me for my disorganization just in general, but this is how I do. I'm gonna stop apologizing for it because I've got very limited time in my day, so I need to go. So this is not everything. This is not everything, but basically, you know, starting in November 2018, I was gifted Tarot of the Cat People. I think it's trying to focus on this, so I'll have to take it away despite the fact that it looks really cute. Okay, you're gonna try to focus on the back? No, it's good. Okay. So, Tarot of the Cat People was gifted to me. Then in January 2019, that is when it fucking began. I bought Wild Unknown, Smithwaite, Moon Power, Shadowscapes, Marigold, Moonchild, Halloween, and that was all just in the first 3 months of 2019. And that's not including Oracle. Anyway, this actually isn't. This is just kind of like what I kept for the most part. This is just sort of an overview of, I mean, some of these I have not kept, but this is just kind of an overview of the decks that I have acquired over the last, and some of them that I just got I haven't actually written down yet, but that's not really the scientific thing. None of this is scientific. This is also just something else. So let me just move that aside. We can probably even zoom in a little bit more now. Okay, this is a journal that I had in late 2019. So this is where I had written down. And let's start this before I even show you the stats of how much money I've spent on tarot. I think it's important to share with you. I know people are like really squeamish about finances, but I'm just going to be totally fucking real with you guys right now, okay? I work part-time at a public library, and then I supplement that, and I take home about, I calculated it the other day with my paycheck, because I don't really like to think about how much money I make, because, you know, I actually take home less than that. I actually take home about $11 an hour. So I make $11 an hour, essentially. 20 hours a week. I work at a public library. I supplement that income with, I have Patreon. So I make about $60 a month with Patreon, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And I love my patrons, and it's really fun to have that. I'm really grateful to have that. I just recently monetized my YouTube channel. So far I have made $10. having a monetized channel for about 2.5 weeks. So I think that's going to translate to around $15 or $20 a month. So, you know, let's just, I'm going to write it all down. I'm going to write it all down so you guys can see it visually represented. My income. So at my library job, I take home about, let's see, so if it's $11 an hour and I end up working probably about 42 hours every 2 weeks. So it's about 21 hours a week, but it's not always 21. So let's just say 20.5 hours per week. So 82 hours a month times $11 an hour. So I make about $900 per month. So I'll just say monthly income is $900 at my library job. I clean a woman's house, and she pays me $100 a week, which is incredibly generous because her house is very easy to clean. So I make $400 a month there. My Patreon, I make $60. I presume, like, the YouTube thing is very new. I haven't made any withdrawals, but I presume I'm going to make about $15 a month on YouTube. And I do have my Etsy tarot reading thing, but that is really inconsistent. Like, sometimes I'll make like $100 in a month, and sometimes I won't make anything in a month. So I'm not going to write that down. So this is my income. Let's see. 900 plus 400 plus 75. So I make $13.75 per month. So I make about $340 per week. So just to let you guys know where I am. I know people don't talk about this for some reason, so I feel sweaty like telling you guys, but I don't really feel weird about telling you guys how much money I make. And I mean, obviously there's more to this, like how much are my expenses. I'm not going to go through all of that shit with you, but you know, I do live with someone that has his own income. So we share the expenses. We have a mortgage. We pay all of our bills, you know, internet, you know, all the utilities. We also have like Netflix and cell phones and all of that stuff. All that stuff that we're all, you know, very intimate with paying for, you know. So there you go. So just so you guys know. Because I want people out there with similar situations to mine to feel seen right now, because we're all in this together. So I make about $340 a week. And honestly, like, anyway, it's pretty eye-opening. If you've ever done this, if you also collect tarot and oracle decks, if you've ever sat down and written down every single tarot deck you acquire, every single oracle deck you acquire, how much money did you spend on it, and how many of these decks did you keep? If you did give them away, did you get your money back for them? So at the end of 2019, I actually wrote some of this shit down. So 2019, these are the decks that I acquired. The ones that are highlighted are the ones that I still have as of July 2021, because I just highlighted the ones that I still have. So I kept a pretty big portion of what I got in the beginning. Oh, actually not really, because this list here, I made a separate list for the ones that I got rid of. So that's what all of these are. So these are all the decks that I acquired and I still had by the end of 2019. The ones that are highlighted are the ones I still have as of now. And then this list over here, I kept pretty detailed notes about like the decks that I got rid of. How much money did I make for them whenever I got rid of them? Like, I made my money back for, I had Star Child Akashic, and I got rid of that, and I sold it on eBay, so the equal sign, I'm guessing, means that I got my money back for it. With the Albano Weight, I think I gave that one away, so I just calculated minus $20, because that's how much I spent on it. So, I'll tell you that, like, the totals are all written here, but I'll go over it on my other little thing here. But just so you can see the list, these are all the decks that I acquired and moved on. I was using the language moved on at the time, whereas now I'd just be like, those are the decks I culled, because I really love the word cull. So, yeah. Also, like, I just realized, like, Papa Squirrel has also gone over this kind of whole thing. He recently got rid of, in a recent video, he said all of his tarot decks. I'm hoping that, like, surely he kept some, but, the one that I saw was that he had culled down to, like, he had 10 tarot and oracle decks, like, total left. So that's another thing that, that's another person that has dove into this subject. Like, I'm not saying I'm the first one, but I'm just going over the nitty-gritty a little bit with you guys, and I realize it's very sloppily organized. But, so that's 2019. I wanted to briefly show you, one of my other obsessions is perfume. And this is the most embarrassing, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. At the beginning of this year, I went a little crazy. Starting in December. So for some reason I have this in, like, reverse chronological order. And first of all, like, part of this whole situation is, like, acquiring things from indie creators, you know? So I don't want to, like, put out there that we should feel guilty for supporting independent creators. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to take a closer look at what this whole thing is doing to us financially and psychologically. Just acquiring all of these things. What are we doing? That's all I'm saying. And how can we better support? I was thinking about this, and, like, if I'm going to stop acquiring so many tarot and oracle decks, which is the goal, how am I going to continue to support artists that I really like that are putting out tarot and oracle decks? And I thought about, oh, you know, Kickstarter usually has that option where you can just contribute money to a project without receiving any benefits from it. And I've always just kind of ignored that because, like, why would I do that? I want the deck. But, like, coming to terms with, like, how much money I can spend on things, like, I am living outside my means with this habit. And, you know, on the one hand, if I take that back to, like, maybe I only buy, like, one deck per season or something. And if I do that, I can definitely spend more on independent creators and, you know, Kickstarters and things like that. Things that cost more. I could spend more on really quality things and support independent creators in my community if I bought less decks. But at the same time, if I'm going to take my acquisition way the fuck down, I'm not going to be supporting independent creators as often. So I've been thinking about that already. Like, okay, well, maybe I will start using that option of, like, maybe I only have $10 I can contribute to a Kickstarter campaign, but it will make me happy to give them a little bit of support, even if it's, you know, without having to burden myself with more things. And I've heard of this term deck overwhelm, which basically just means you're overstimulated by how many tarot decks you have. I experienced that yesterday, actually. I was, I don't think I want to talk about it here because it's kind of personal, but I found out some really weird news, which if you are going to tune into Mixtress Radio tonight, you're going to hear all about it. Or if you're one of my patrons, you will hear all about it. But I got some weird news yesterday, and I came home and I wanted to consult the tarot. I wanted to consult my tarot friends, you know, my tarot decks / tarot friends. And it took me a while to decide which tarot deck I wanted to consult for this particular situation. And I ended up using 3 different decks and just kind of pulling cards anxiously until I got to what I should have done in the first place, which is just pull my Marigold Tarot. And then I started getting the answers that I needed. And I was thinking, like, well, what if I only had 5 decks? I don't really think I'm going to do that. Like, right now, my tarot collection is at, like, about $28. 28 decks. So I feel pretty comfortable with that. And that's actually even, I think, including a couple of Kickstarters that I haven't received yet. So I feel pretty comfortable with that number. Like, I think having more is okay for me, but to a point. Anyway, I'm babbling at this point. But it's a tricky situation, right? Because we want to support people in our community that are creating beautiful art. That's one of the reasons why, you know, if you collect tarot like I do, I appreciate art. I love the different kinds of interpretations of different tarot decks, but I have to, like, reckon with the fact that I cannot afford this habit. So here's an example of, like, something else. Like, this is perfume. But this is how I get. This is an example of the addictive behavior that I get with the acquisition of objects. I have a problem with online shopping, and I'm sure many of you guys could say the same. So this is super fucking embarrassing. But, like, again, Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab, I have no problem with the money that I spent on their website in the sense of I want to support them. But through the interpretation of how much money I actually have, I feel guilty about it because I didn't have this money. Most of this was charged to a credit card because I don't actually have this money. You saw how much I make. So where is this being totaled? Okay, this is totaled over here. Okay, and it's going back. Okay, I don't know why I listed this, like, reverse chronological order. That's probably just how it was listed on the site or something. December 26th, I bought these 2 perfumes from the Etsy Bee Pal shop for $55. October 12th, I bought all of these perfumes for $258. Why do I keep saying October? December 18th, I bought the, like, scent locket for $129. December 26th, again, on the regular BeePal site. So I spent, that same day, I bought from the Etsy BeePal site and the main one, $55 on Etsy, $57 on the main site. On February 1st, I spent $60. On March 22nd, I spent $63. Let's go through, just because I did this with the tarot and oracle decks. How many of these did I keep? Gave that to my friend Laura, gave that to my mom, although I did end up later buying a bottle for myself, so I'll just highlight that because I did end up liking that perfume. Gave that away, gave that away. Tombstone. Oh, gave that to Michael. Kept it. Kept it. Okay. Kept it. Kept it. Blood Kiss, kept it. Black Phoenix, kept it. Kabuki gave to my mom. Voodoo, kept it. Samhain, kept it. Shelter and Tomb Hair Gloss, kept it. Dead Leaves on Fire, kept it. Black Licorice Smut, kept it. Mouse Circus, hated it. Because with those, like, you know, this is an independent creator. You buy these perfumes and you don't get to send them back. You don't know what they're going to smell like until you have them, and you don't get to send them back. Gave that to my friend Laura. Reina Toros, kept that one. Dia de los Muertos, kept that one. Okay, so just to kind of be somewhat consistent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 19 perfumes here, and I kept 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 out of 19. I kept 12 out of 19. I spent, in this 4-month period only, and only on Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab, I spent $622. 171 of that spent on perfumes I didn't keep at the time, but I've given more away now. $44 average spent on 11 kept. So that was how I was calculating that at the time. And then you go through, like, because perfume was my obsession at that moment, I also spent a bunch of money on, like, eBay within that 4 months. So in 4 months, I spent $856 on perfume. So that's just an example of, like, where my addictive behaviors go. Because basically, if it's not tarot and oracle, I'm spending, you know, just as much, if not way more, on other things. So this is just, and this is me. Hello, my name is Mixtressrae, and I am an addict. So I know you guys mostly aren't interested in the perfume shit, but let me go to, I'm flipping through my journal, just like, you guys are going to see some personal shit that you weren't ready for, that you didn't ask for. Okay, so here's where, like, the more organized, like, I'm really going to get to the fucking point. Like, fucking get to the fucking point, fucking bitch. Okay, here we are. So, Tarot and Oracle 2020. So you saw the, okay, so this is every Tarot and Oracle deck listed here, very sloppily, that I acquired in 2020. I think this is everything. It is quite possible I'm missing a couple of things because, you know, it's easy to track what you've bought on, like, eBay, Amazon, Etsy, stuff like that. But, like, if I bought something in person, or if I bought something from an independent creator's website, I don't save all of those emails. So this is probably not a complete list. But as far as, like, decks that I still have, those are all definitely listed here, but I could be missing a few that I bought and got rid of and just fucking forgot about. I could be missing those. So, eBay, Magic View Oracle, Vintage Ankh Tarot, Knockoff Modern Witch, Terrible Decision, Kali Oracle. So again, I have highlighted the ones that I actually kept. So as you can see, it's like half. Only half. And then these I just wrote in at the last minute, so they're not really organized. But Star Child, I bought the, like, reissue of the first edition of Star Child Tarot. And then Tarot of the Holy Spectrum, both of those I got rid of. So, yeah, this is just the list of everything. And sometimes, like in the case of Mystic Mondays, this was the second time I bought Mystic Mondays because I bought it back in 2019 and I was mad at it, so I got rid of it, and then I bought it again in 2020. With Star Child, I had the Akashic edition in 2019 and got rid of it, and then I bought the reissue of the first edition in 2020 and then got rid of that too. So that makes me even more, like, anytime I buy a deck and get rid of it and then fucking buy it again, that happened with Muse Tarot too. I had the indie, like the first edition release of Muse Tarot in 2019 and I got rid of it. And then I bought the mass market version in 2020 and then I got rid of it again. At least I'm glad that I actually let things go. Like, I don't keep things around. I do have a pretty curated collection, and for me personally, I need to do that. I need to have a curated collection. But, so I'm glad that I actually let things go that aren't working for me, but still, it's just crazy to think about. Same thing, like 2019, I got Serpent Fire Tarot and got rid of it. I just mailed out the second time I bought it. I sold it on eBay. I listed it within 12 hours of receiving it because I was so angry at myself. Like, this has nothing to do with, like, I mean, it has a little bit to do with the creator, but I'm not going to get into that. But I'm more angry at myself for living outside my means, you know? So, like, I had to absolve the guilt of spending money on that tarot deck that didn't work for me the first time when I got rid of it, and then I fucking got it again. Anyway, get to the fucking point, Mixtress. Okay. So some of these, like, I look at them and I'm angry. Like Memento Mori Oracle, I just thought that Oracle was a piece of shit. Sorry, I'm going to just be real. I might regret saying that and take this video down later, but I thought that Oracle was a piece of shit. No shade if you love it. And it's not like it's not well made. It's not like it's not thought out. It's it's the combination of like being angry at myself for spending so much money, me feeling like that Oracle deck is overpriced. Like I got it on sale and it was still like $60 including shipping. So some of these things, like I look at them and they make me angry because of, and again, it's sometimes I do feel anger towards the creators, but essentially it's just because I'm misdirecting anger that I feel towards myself for making these bad decisions, making these bad purchase decisions. Again, because you've seen my income, I can't afford this habit. So here's where we get into the actual stats. So here's 2021 so far. So here we go. 2019, the decks I acquired, 54. Decks kept, 22. I spent, according to my stats in 2019, and I was also calculating in like how much I made from getting rid of decks and blah, 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 blah. So this is likely kind of a lowball number, $1,123. 2020, decks acquired, 31, including Tarot and Oracle, again. Decks kept, 15. Money spent, $971. Again, these are probably actually low numbers because I'm probably forgetting a few things. And in cases where I don't have the information anymore, I'm just guessing how much I spent on it. Like Vision Quest I bought from like a witchy shop. I probably didn't spend much more than that, but I'm just saying like some of these are probably lowball numbers for the most part. 2021, so far through the end of July, I've acquired 14 Tarot and Oracle decks, kept 11. So at least my stats of like what I'm keeping are a little bit better this year. I'm kind of honing in on what is actually going to work for me and what's not. I'm getting a little bit better about like, because this whole year I've been trying to live within my means. That's my whole goal. So I'm getting a little bit better about like not spending too much on tarot decks. Like, you know, so far, like this was actually, Stunning Tarot I bought from Casper the Boy Diviner. And basically it was kind of, he had an out-of-print deck that he wanted, and I wanted the out-of-print first edition of Stunning Tarot from him. So this was, you know, even though this is the most money I've ever spent on a tarot deck, $95, it was just basically a trade because I was making sure that he had enough to get, that was the agreement, that I would give him enough that he could get an out-of-print deck that he wanted, because Stunning Tarot actually sells for like $200 or more on eBay, the first edition that I got from him. So even though this is the most I've ever spent on a tarot deck, it's actually still a big bargain for that particular deck. And this was technically, like, I paid for this in December. It just took a while to ship from Singapore to where I live in the Midwest of America. So for the most part, I have been better. I'm not, you know, like, these prices are not terrible. This year has been better. But keep in mind, even though I've spent less on tarot so far this year, you saw that fucking perfume shit. That was all in like the first 3 months of 2021. When my whole... Anyway, okay, yes. So, totals for tarot and oracle decks since I started collecting at the beginning of 2019. I've acquired 99 tarot and oracle decks. I have kept 48. So essentially 48%. So less than half of the tarot decks I've acquired, tarot and oracle decks that I've acquired, have I actually kept. And I mean, some of that is just you don't know if you're going to work well with something until you can hold it in your hands. But some of it is also like, yeah, again, like this. Anyway, so total, and this is, again, probably not the actual total. It's probably more than this. $2,623. And then I just, like, made this little sweaty, sad person down here. So, yeah, that's... Sorry, I could have, like, given you guys that information in, like, 5 minutes, but I just wanted to really... First of all, I'm disorganized, but also I just wanted to really steep in this for a second. Like, what are we doing? You know, why are we taking this really cool thing, tarot, and making it about product acquisition, you know, and we're all, another thing that's like personally bothers me is that we have become salespeople too, you know, like we all, and I do it too. Like, I'm not like saying that I'm above any of this. I think we're all above all of this, but we're doing it anyway. That's what I think. And I actually probably, as I'm saying this, I just saw the mail person outside. I'm pretty sure Trionfi della Luna Paradoxical Purple Edition just got dropped off on my porch. So I'm saying this, I'm about to say this at a time when there's literally a brand new tarot deck probably sitting on my porch right now that I probably am going to do an unboxing for. And I'm saying, like, why have we become little salespeople, blah, 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 blah. But I know that there aren't very many videos of the Paradoxical Purple Trionfi della Luna tarot deck, so I obviously have to do an unboxing, right? I fully realize the, like, the hypocrite shit, the dichotomy of all of this. You know, like, I'm so fucking sick of unboxings and talking about cardstock and talking about this and talking about that and just becoming an advertisement for consumerism. I don't want to be a part of that, but at the same time, I look at walkthroughs of tarot decks. I make walkthroughs of tarot decks. I am a part of this, but I want to be more mindful about, like, what it's actually doing to me psychologically and financially. And so this is just, you know, putting a conversation out there. I would love to hear what people have to say about this, either in the comments or if you want to make a VR. I would love to see what anybody, like, what is the toll that it's taking on us. I think psychologically, just in general, and it's always been something. Like, before it was tarot, it was corsets. Before it was corsets, it was something else. You know, perfume is a thing that comes up for me every once in a while. Well, I'll just like lose my mind and spend $500 on perfume in 3 months, and then I just won't spend anything on perfume again for years. You know, like, that's a thing with me, and it just keeps amping up and amping up and amping up. Like, I've never spent that much on perfume before this year. And I only keep half of the tarot and oracle decks that I acquire. And most of the time I just give them away, which is fine. I love doing that, actually. I just realized there's a tarot deck that I didn't write on my 2021. So that's like another $20 that wasn't on there. But anyway, I like giving tarot decks away. It makes me really happy. But I also need to be very mindful about what I can afford, because honestly, I can either afford to buy indie decks, like I said before, like maybe once every 3 months or so, or I can buy cheap tarot decks like once a month or so. So, you know, just weighing this shit out, being practical, learning how to deal with my tarot shopping addiction. I am in the process of trying to fucking figure it out. Thank you for listening. Fuck. I'm so sweaty. And it's not just because it's hot in here, but that's part of it. Because, like, every time I make a video like this, I feel so weird about it, because I know people just don't do this. People don't talk about finances. People aren't upfront about that shit. But I feel like we need to be, because I can't pretend that I'm not susceptible to capitalism, to, you know, I spend a lot of my time consuming ads, essentially. Like, either I'm watching tarot YouTubers, or I'm flipping, you know, scrolling through Instagram, and, like, how many times am I seeing something that I want to buy? And, like, why has, you know, such a big part of life become wanting to acquire the things that you see? Like, it almost feels like I feel like I need to disclose what everything I have is, like, all the time. Like, this is where you can get this mug, and this is where you can get this journal. And, like, we've just become that. Because, and I was thinking about this, I don't really know exactly how to articulate it, and I swear I'm going to shut up soon. But I've just been thinking about this issue. I mean, you guys that are my patrons have just heard me talk about this so fucking much in the last couple of months. But I've been thinking about, like, whenever I watch tarot videos, you know, just like breaking it down to sort of like the psychological root or the, like, you know, shadow work aspects, which I don't really like that term, but just so you guys know what I'm talking about. Breaking it the fuck down. You're watching someone flip through a tarot deck. Okay, so I'm going to just do it right now. Get out my marigold, because it's right here, always. You're watching someone flip through a tarot deck. And what is it that you are wanting when you're watching someone flip through a tarot deck? Is it actually the tarot deck? Do you want to be that person holding that exact deck? The specificity of that, is that really what we want? And I was thinking, I mean, in some cases, yes. In some cases, like, that particular tarot deck could be great for you. And when you start to view the intermittent reinforcement of this habit as a relationship, which is something that Rachel suggested to me, and I've just been thinking of it, that if you think about it as an abusive relationship, it's intermittent reinforcement. It's kind of like gambling. Like, 1 out of every, like, I don't know, 10 tarot or oracle decks that you acquire becomes like something that you really resonate with, that you use all the fucking time. So you never know when that intermittent reinforcement is going to hit, so you keep going, you keep doing it. You're like the rat, you know, pushing the lever for the sugar water or whatever it is, you know, the cocaine. Because every once in a while, if you have no way to predict when it's going to happen, that you're going to be rewarded for your behavior, you're just going to keep doing it. And that's how addiction works, right? Just psychologically. But anyway, what I was trying to say is, like, what is it that I really want when I'm watching someone else flip through a tarot deck? You know, I want that sort of intimate connection with tarot. You know, I want that sort of like moment of meditation. I want that, I want to, in some cases, what struck me is I want to hang out with that person. You know, I watch all these different tarot YouTubers, as I'm sure you do too, because I want to know these people. I want to connect with these people. So I feel like I can connect to them. And in some cases, like, you might even feel this about me. If you watch my videos regularly, you know I love the Marigold Tarot, and it might not be something that you would normally be attracted to, but because you associate it with me, and because maybe in some senses you relate to me, so maybe if you associate this tarot deck with me, you want to like it. Have you ever experienced that sort of like, I've had this happen many times where, like, I've noticed it's associated with, you know, anxiety and emotional regulation. Like, I buy tarot decks when I'm having some sort of anxiety or emotional deregulation that I want to regulate my emotions, so I look for a tarot deck. And sometimes there's not anything that I currently want, but I want to want something so that I can buy it. You know, that's just absurd to me to say out loud, but like sometimes there's like the hole that you're trying to fill by buying things. Sometimes you don't actually have anything that you want, so you create something that you want. Like some of my stats in here, I noticed that, like, in October particularly, I'll because that's my birthday month, so I'll generally have like a little bit of extra spending money on that month. Plus I usually take 2 weeks off in October for my job, so that I just, you know, that's just sort of, you know, what I do. And so I have extra time and extra money, and I end up trying to fill that space with buying tarot decks. And it's like, what am I really wanting here? When I watch a video, I know I'm all over the place, and I know I'm kind of repeating myself too, but that's just what I do. What am I wanting? I'm wanting connection. I'm wanting connection to a tarot deck. I'm wanting connection to a person that I'm watching. And sometimes I will be drawn to what I was saying before. Sometimes I will be drawn to buying a tarot deck that I know is a favorite of another tarot YouTuber because I want to feel a connection to them, which I'm not going to be more connected to them if I have the same fucking tarot deck that they have. If we've purchased the same item, I'm not going to be more connected to them. I'm not. It's just, I mean, in a mystical sense, maybe you can kind of feel that. And if a person gets you to fall in love with something that like actually will be super useful to you, that's different. But if you're going out to buy, you know, Marigold Tarot just because I have it when it's not something that you would really like, you're not going to get what you want from that. You know what I mean? Yeah, anyway, I'm really anxious because I really need to get control of my shopping habits. I have credit card debt, as I'm sure many of you guys do. And every 2 weeks I get paid for my library job, and that's my bill paying day, which is actually today, and I haven't done it yet. I need to go pick up my check because there's like a problem with the processing, so the direct deposits aren't working right now, so I have to go physically pick up my check today. And I have to pay bills, and that is a day that is hard for me because I have to reckon, every 2 weeks I have to reckon with how much money I actually have. And I would have so much more to actually have experiences with people, to go out to eat with friends, to go to movies, I would have so much more to go out and experience life, even just like having more for groceries, because I will prioritize, and I've recently learned that this is part of a poverty mindset. When you are in poverty, or, I mean, I wouldn't say, like, I'm not under the poverty level, like, I'm more like lower middle class probably, but like a poverty mindset, part of poverty mindset is you're more likely to spend money on entertainment and relationships. So you will prioritize spending what little money you have on acquiring tarot decks or going out to eat with friends, or, you will prioritize that over like essentials, like paying your utilities. And, luckily I always pay my bills. I do that first, but then, when I have money left over from paying bills, sometimes I'll dip into my groceries. I will often dip into what I should be spending on like groceries and essentials, and like just having a little bit of money in case, you want to go out to eat or something. Like I will dip into that to buy tarot decks. And another thing that like when you're watching tarot YouTube, sometimes the thing that you're wanting, like if you're watching someone, flip through a tarot deck or whatever, sometimes I've noticed anyway, like maybe you're not the same, but I've noticed that something that I'm wanting is a concept. Not only do I want to kind of feel connected to whoever that person is that has that tarot deck, but I want to be them. And oftentimes the people that I want to be, the people that I want to emulate are people that, that they have like 5 tarot decks, or they only feature like 3 or 4 different tarot decks because those are the ones that are really, really important to them. And you want that. You want that connection to tarot, like that Grace person was saying, that I'm going to try to remember to link her video below. She was saying that like she felt so much more of a connection to tarot when she only had a few decks, because she was able to really get to know those particular decks, which is why I want to focus more on like my recent Real Deep series that I just started with Marigold Tarot. I really want to focus on that. I want to get out of my lack mentality mindset, because I always feel deprived. I feel deprived, and that leads me to spending money on tarot because I think that I deserve certain things. That's part of my my shopping addiction problem. I feel deprivation, and I feel like I deserve to have these things that I want. And you know what? That is actually true. I do deserve to have the things that I want, but I can't maintain. I'm going to lose the thread. I'm going to lose the thread of learning tarot and connecting with tarot and really diving into, psychological growth. I'm going to lose that thread if all I'm doing is acquiring tarot decks. So much of my mental space is like, what tarot decks do I want? How much money do they cost? How scarce are they? Are they limited edition? Will I ever have the chance again to get them? That kind of sounded like a rhyme. Are they limited edition? Will I ever have the chance to get them? And so much of my brain space is consumed with that I'm not actually spending time learning tarot and just like taking in tarot symbolism of the things that I already have. And I'm not really enjoying the things that I have, you know? And I'm sure that a lot of you guys can relate to this. And like I said 10 minutes ago, I'm really gonna fucking shut up now. So thank you for being here with me on this journey. I'm sorry if it was too personal. Obviously, if it was too personal, you probably clicked off of this forever ago, so you're not seeing this part. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this whole thing. Like, and I'm sure for a lot of people, again, I don't want to be judgy. I don't know, I guess I maybe didn't say that. Like, if you collect tarot decks and you can afford it and you really, really love it and you love having a collection of things and it doesn't cause you distress and anxiety to have all of these things, for me it does. If I have more things than I can reasonably use, it bothers me like a lot. Which is why I'm constantly like sending decks back out of my life, because if I feel like I'm not going to use them, I will get rid of them, and I will get rid of them quickly. Sometimes I keep decks less than a week because like I know almost instantly if something's going to work for me or not. So if you're not feeling a bunch of anxiety attached to tarot collecting, but you're doing it, then, you know, and it's not really hurting your financial life, it's not hurting your psychological life, then this, you know, this doesn't apply. I'm not trying to judge anyone else's behaviors. I just know that this is something that I'm going through, which means that somebody else is going through it too. I am living beyond my means with this tarot habit, and I need to stop. I miss tarot like Grace. I miss tarot. I want connections to the small collection of things that I have, and I want to support independent artists, but not at the expense of myself, you know? And I haven't figured out how to navigate that space yet. I'm just kind of talking to you about it in the process, and thank you for listening. I'm gonna shut up now, and I don't know how to do it, so I'm just gonna do it. Bye.